Hello and welcome to the Hard to Handle Sports Podcast. This is episode number 58. My name is Ismael San. Thank you so much for being here. Aaron Rodgers is going to have a last dance with the Packers. Xavien Howard requests a trade. The NBA is having new rules for drawing fouls. Also, Djokovic is going for 2 gold medals, joining the mixed doubles competition. Naomi Osaka is eliminated from the Olympics, and Simone Biles withdraws from the Olympics. All of that on this episode of the Hard to Handle Sports Podcast. Let's get started. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are going to have a last dance. He is back in training camp. He is going to play this year for the Packers. He also just had a press conferences where he let out his grievances. He explained his frustrations. There's a whole lot of stuff in there, so if you haven't seen that, make sure to go to YouTube, go somewhere, go Twitter, go find that video of him talking about the Packers organization. He name dropped a lot of players that he felt the organization let them go too early, didn't give them respect that they deserved for giving years and years and years of service to the Packers. And I agree with him. There's a lot of players that could have potentially re-signed, been kept by the Packers, and they weren't. They were kind of just, thrown to the side. He mentioned Kuhn. He mentioned Julius Pepper, Charles Woodson, Jordy Nelson. There's a lot of players that he name dropped. Like I said, this is very entertaining stuff. He didn't hold back. He basically said, I love the players, I love the fans, but the organization has a lot of downfalls and I'm kind of sick and tired of it. A reporter pushed back, kind of questioned it, like, hey, some of these players weren't the best once they left the Packers. And he basically said, yeah, maybe they weren't that good once they left the Packers, but they meant more for the Packers than they would have meant for the other teams. You can't quantify the chemistry that we had built here. All of those players were key components to this chemistry. All of those players had, helped build this thing. So they definitely had more importance to the Packers than for other teams. And they could have played disappointed for the next team because they wanted to retire as Packer players. So I agree. I definitely agree with Aaron Rodgers that a lot of those players, they would have played better for the Packers than they ended up playing for other teams. Aaron Rodgers also said that the reason players go play to the Packers is not because of the Packers. It's not because they love, being a cheesehead. They come to play there for him. No one goes to vacation in Wisconsin. He said something along those lines. They come here for me. And I agree with that too. Aaron Rodgers, he's the current MVP, the reigning MVP. He is great. So I agree. One of the main attractions of playing in Green Bay since he took over in 2006, 2007, whenever he took over, is to play with Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL. And we all know that quarterbacks run this league. And if you don't have a good quarterback, you don't have a chance of winning a championship. And if you have a great one, then you're pretty much in contention year in and year out. So Aaron Rodgers, maybe he was being brutally honest, so a lot of people don't like that, but I completely agree with him. He let the organization know how he felt. He let the fans know where he was coming from. He let everyone know why he wasn't there, why he had to, stay away from the team. He said he learned a lot about himself. He grew this offseason, so I'm happy for Aaron Rodgers. If he gets to another level mentally, that's scary for the league because he's already, one of the best throwers. He's one of the best players in the NFL. So if he gets to another level mentally, it's scary for the league. But all of this has me thinking about the Packers and their potential for next year. Like, can they go and win the Super Bowl this year? They definitely have the potential. They have some of the personnel, some disgruntled personnel, but they have, Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers leading the way. Davante Adams has also spoken about his grievances with the organization and how he should be the highest paid wide receiver, which I agree. He's earned that. But the thing that keeps coming back to my mind when I think of the Packers and Aaron Rodgers is I think of the Milwaukee Bucks and I think of the 96 Bulls. Namely because they're calling this the last dance. Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers both posted the same picture from the Last Dance documentary before Aaron Rodgers came and, basically said, this is going to be my last year. We'll see at the end of this season if I want to stay. Which one is the parallel? Because when the Bucks, when the Giannis re-signed with the Bucks, they basically said they thanked them for re-signing with them, and they said that there was no way this team was going to win if he would have played out that last year of his contract. Like, the pressure of Giannis leaving would have been so great that there was no way they could have won the championship. Like, when the playoffs came and you knew that, okay, once the season's over, if we get eliminated, this franchise is not just losing this playoff this year. Like, you're thinking the future. Like, we got to win because we never know if we're ever going to be back in these playoffs. Like, if you're a role player, if you're like even the second fiddle like Middleton, you're like, damn, if we lose right now, we're not just gonna lose this series. We're gonna lose Giannis too. And that amount of pressure in of itself is just on top of already the playoff pressure, the pressure that you feel being in an elimination game is just too much. It's too much to carry. It wouldn't have let you go on out and, play freely, play clear of mind, just focus on the game. That would have been in the back of your head. You would have been thinking, damn, like, this is it. This is the Bucks as we know them. Because I'm using that example. This is the Bucks as we know them, like the Bucks that we've known these last 3-4 years, being perennial playoff, being a perennial playoff team, competing for a championship, being one of the higher seeds in the East. That's all going to be gone if we lose this game right now. If we get eliminated from the playoffs, that's gone. Like, we're done. Giannis is going to move on. We're going to have to rebuild, and it's going to be a whole different team, a whole different philosophy, a whole different mindset, different goals. The goals with Giannis would have been winning championships. Once he's gone, it might be just making the playoffs or, having a decent season, getting an all-star in our team, selling tickets, whatever. So that pressure of him playing with 1 year remaining and the possibility of him leaving was going to prevent the Bucks from winning a championship because that pressure would have been too much. And I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. I think they're right. Like, if you think the franchise guy is going to leave after the end of this season, if you guys don't perform well, that just adds so much more pressure. That's a lot. It kind of reminds me of children when they're the ones keeping their parents together. Like, they're the only reason they're together. That's so much pressure on the kid. Like, no one wants that pressure. So a lot of times it's better if the parents split up because it kind of relieves some of that pressure that the kid feels. I don't know. That's a simple analogy that I could think of, but that's some of the pressure that the that the Packers are gonna have this year. Just thinking in the back of their mind, like, damn, like, how could we make Aaron Rodgers stay? Like, every player is gonna feel that way. Like, this is it. Like, if they're ever in a hole during the season, like, damn, we're down 2. Our record's 2-4. This is it. Aaron Rodgers is gonna leave. I'm a vet. I don't know how many more years I'm gonna be able to win. It's just so much stuff on the head. If that season ever has a hiccup, once they're in the playoffs, if they're ever down against the Buccaneers or whatever team makes it in the East, in the NFC, that's just a lot of pressure. So I don't think it's gonna work out. But then there's the other coin. There's the other coin flip, like with the 96 Bulls. They all knew it was the last dance, and it motivated them. Everyone knew that this is the last year we have together. So let's put it all out there. Let's go win a championship. Let's show them that they were wrong and we were right. They should have kept this team together. There's no reason to break it up because we have a championship team right here. And let's go out there and let's prove it to them. And it'll be like the biggest, middle finger to them, just letting them know that you were wrong. This team is still capable of winning. So the Packers could, all unite, all feel that energy, just be like, you know what? It sucks that the organization didn't treat you right. It sucks that you feel this way, that you don't feel appreciated, that you don't feel respected, that you don't feel like you have an input in this organization. But let's put that all aside and let's, we appreciate you. We as the locker room appreciate you. And we're going to all, rally behind you and make this a memorable year and, send you off with the championship. And at the very least, be competitive, be in there till the end. And if you still decide to leave at the end of the season, then, go be it. You got to do your thing. You got to look out for yourself. But if we win a championship and you want to stay, then damn, even better. So those are two real possibilities. The whole team backs him up, says, you know what, this is the last year with you. We'll appreciate you. I'm playing with one of the all-time greats. So let's do it. Let's leave it all on the field. Let's go win this chip. We've been to back-to-back NFC championships. But the other coin flip is like the Bucks situation. We're like, damn, we're down 14 in the wild card game, or we're down 14 in the divisional round, we need to, get that energy up. We need to talk to each other at halftime and get back into this game. Focus. Everyone, cover your gap. Run your best routes. Put your head down and get that extra yard if you're the running back. You got to just focus. And in the back of your mind, you're like, damn, this is it. Aaron Rodgers, after this game, he's gone. He's getting traded. He's getting moved. Like, this is it. This is the last time I'm ever gonna play with this great. I'm 32. I'm 28. Whatever the player is, like, damn, I gotta start thinking about my future. Do I want to stay with the Packers? Do I want to ask for a trade too? Do I want to go? Like, that's the other possibility, and I think that's the most likely one because there's a lot of, unlike the NBA where there's only 5 teams, rosters are like 12, 13 players. The NFL is like 55 plus. So I think there's just too many personalities, too many egos, too many heads to go around for this to work, for everyone to just be united and, just persevere through this season with that in the back of their head that, damn, Aaron Rodgers is gone after this. This is it. I was in a championship I was in a roster that had championship potential like all these years, and now he's gone, and we're probably going to be bottom of the barrel team or midway of the pack team. So personally, I think this is too much of a distraction or too much pressure for the team to convince Aaron Rodgers to stay or to just send him off with the championship. And I think at the end it's just going to be too much. Xavien Howard requests a trade. He's not happy with the Dolphins. I think he posted an Instagram post yesterday saying he doesn't feel valued and respected. He wants out. Oh, where should he go? Xavien Howard. He led the league with 10 interceptions last year. He was an All-Pro, first team All-Pro. Great cornerback, has excellent ball skills, can guard the opponent's number one. He's a great cornerback. He has a lot of years to go to. He's 28 years old, so he's not on the wrong side of 30. He looks like he has 3, 4, maybe even 5 years of good elite production. So where should he go? There's a lot of rumors out there. The Arizona Cardinals should get him, the Falcons, the Saints, the Cowboys. Should the Bucks get him too? Just completely fill that roster, just full of stars, run it back. But in my opinion, I think he should go to the Seahawks. The Seahawks traded for their safety, Adams, and he did pretty good. Jamal Adams, he's more of a blitzer. He likes to play that linebacker role, coming to the line, tackling behind the line. He gets sacks as a safety like no one has ever done it. But they lost Shaquille Griffin in free agency. They really haven't had that Legion of Boom type of defense since, Sherman and all those greats left, Chancellor, Thomas. Since all those greats left, they've never really had a team, a defense that scares offenses like that. So if they're able to, 1 year trade for Jamal Adams and the next year get Xavien Howard, I think that really elevates that defense to back up that offense that has been electric these last few years. Really compliment Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf on the other side, and just go back to their roots, have an efficient offense, a shutdown defense, and go get it. Especially because their division is hard. Matthew Stafford, he's never won a playoff game, but with Sean McVay, I think he has a great chance of making some noise in the playoffs with the Rams. Kyle Murray is going into year 3, although I don't really trust or believe in his coach that much, Cliff Kingsbury. I do believe in Kyle Murray, and I think he's a generational talent that could, put a team on his backpack and just make stuff happen. So, and the 49ers, for that sake, they should be nice too. We'll see how Trey Lance does. We'll see if Jimmy Garoppolo can stay healthy, but you can never count out Kyle Shanahan. He's a great coach too, young quarterback, one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. So the Seattle Seahawks, I think they still need to make some moves. This roster is not good enough, in my opinion, to win the division or compete for the Super Bowl. Maybe they can win the division, but I don't think this is one of those rosters that you think, damn, Super Bowl or bust. or they're going to go super, super far. And if you do think that way, it's probably because you think Russell Wilson is amazing. And I think he's amazing too, but he needs some help, is what I'm trying to say. Russell Wilson is amazing. He could definitely, just carry the Seahawks as far as he can go. But I think he needs some help, and I think the Seattle Seahawks should be the first team on that line calling the Dolphins and saying, "Hey, how much will it take to get Xavien Howard?" But what do you guys think? Where should he go? The New Orleans Saints, that's one of the teams that's been circling around too. I don't think he'll go there just because, we don't know how their QB situation is going to look. They're also talking about maybe the Bucks. I don't know if they have, if they're going to, shake up their roster like that. They already have a championship team. They're running it back. I think all of their starters, first time ever, all of the starters for a championship, for a Super Bowl winning team is back. So I don't know if they want to mess with the chemistry. The Arizona Cardinals, we're talking about the NFC West, then that might make some sense. Patrick Peterson is gone, and he was their shutdown corner for many, many years. So we'll see if they make some moves. But I think the Seahawks makes the most sense. I would like to see him go to the Seahawks. I think he will compete for a championship. He could be that player that takes them to the next, level, that, puts them over the hump. But how do you guys rate Xavien Howard? Do you think he could push a team to, greater heights, or is he just, a solid cornerback that had a great year, 10 interceptions? Because I rate him pretty highly. I saw that game against the Chiefs. He was locking players up. That interception that he had against them. There's a lot of good games that he had last season, and I think he's a quality player at 28 years old. The Dolphins love getting picks. They love, having future assets. So we'll see how much it takes to get him. Maybe like a first, we'll be able to get him. Maybe a second and a third, second and a fourth, second and a player. We'll see how much it takes. Probably a first, in my opinion. We'll be able to get the deal, a first and a player maybe. But what do you guys think? I personally think I would want to see him with the Seahawks, but I know there would be a lot of teams that'll take him. All pro, coming off his best season, on the right side of 30. But he is looking for a contract, so you got to keep that into consideration. He wants to get paid like one of the elite cornerbacks. He's in, I think, one of the last years of his contract. So if you do get him, you got to, throw some money at him. You got to make him happy. You got to, make him feel wanted, make him feel like he, deserves a lot of money. And apparently there's a report saying that 2 playoff teams have already inquired about the possibility of trading for Dolphins cornerback Xavien Howard. So he just requested the trade yesterday. I would not be surprised if he's already traded by the end of next week. This is going to move fast. Xavien Howard, he's a great cornerback. So what do you guys think? What's the most likely destination for Xavien Howard? The NBA is implementing new rules. Shams reported beginning with the 2021-2022 season, the NBA will be implementing new rules to reduce non-basketball moves used to draw fouls. Sources tell The Athletic and Stadium. So Shams is reporting that the NBA is going to, change some rules to help, defenses to make the NBA a little bit more fun to watch. Because, we've all been there when there's players, that get past their initial defender and they stop to get a foul. They completely run into someone to get a foul. And you're kind of like, what? How is that the foul on the defender? This man is literally like veering off his path and jumping into someone else. And that's the foul on him. Like, that does not make sense. So I hope they implement this the right way. Kind of like in FIFA when they don't call all these ticky-tacky fouls. They let the players play. I think I really like this. So Shams also said NBA officiating staffs will be trained to identify and properly rule overt non-basketball actions to initiate contact with the defender, such as offensive player launching into defender. So I think that's the one I'm talking about where, you're running, and you kind of just sidestep into someone and draw a foul. I think that's what they're calling abruptly veers off path. So that's another one. That's the same one that I'm talking. So jumping into someone when you're doing a jump shot. Or I think the first one was like if you pump fake and then someone flies by past you, and then you kind of jump into them and take your shot. I think that's the one they're talking about. Abruptly veers off path. That's the driving one. I saw Chris Paul do that in the NBA Finals, kind of cut off Antetokounmpo. That was, when I saw that, I was like, damn, he could injure someone doing that. So I'm glad they're addressing that. Kicks leg at abnormal angle. That one, we see that a lot with jump shooters, some point guards. But it's progressed to bigger players too. We see everyone do that nowadays. Leg at a normal angle. So, you're taking a shot, someone's running in front of you, and you just extend your leg. You fall kind of weird just so you could get some contact on your foot. Or his off-arm hooks defender. So that's the James Harden one. That's the James Harden one for sure. Where you're running, you're attacking the rim, and you hook. You dribble with one hand and you hook with the other, and you join your hook arm with the ball. And as you're going up, you're dragging that man's hands with you, creating the illusion of contact. And then you shoot your ball, you let go of the ball, easy foul call. So these are the main points that they're gonna take a look at. So one more time: offensive player launches into defender, abruptly veers off path, kicks leg at a normal angle, and his off-arm hooks defender. So I'm very glad that they're doing this. This is great. Starting next season, so it's going to be a ASAP. I'm glad all these NBA refs are, taking these classes seriously. They're paying attention and they actually implement these rules, because there has been times where I'm like, damn, this is annoying. Like, this is not fun. This is annoying. This is kind of bad for the sport. Like, ain't nobody trying to watch this. Ain't nobody trying to watch these players just flop free throws. They're part of the game, but they're one of the least exciting parts of the game. You'd rather see, live action than free throws. That was one of the things why they wanted to get rid of the Hack-a-Shack, because, no one wants to watch a game and just see players throwing free throws or doing free throws. So I think this is great. I'm glad they're, putting their hammer down and making some rule changes, but I'm just hoping that they implement this the right way, because as we've seen before, they've done the anti-flopping rules in 2012, and they even have an article on their NBA website that says explanation of anti-flopping rules. And this was great and all. This was a good idea when it came out. I remember everybody was like, yeah, this is great. We don't want to see flopping in the NBA. It's getting ridiculous. And they kind of enforced it like in the preseason and like the beginning of that first season. And as we got further and further away from the implementation of this rule, from them adding this rule, they kind of stopped enforcing it less and less and less. And now we watch games and I feel like I still see everyone flopping. You hear Steph Van Gundy in the TNT commentary talking to Jackson and Mike Breen, and then he's just like, how's that a foul? Like, with the Van Gundy voice, like, he should be fined for that, and the NBA is not gonna do anything. And we've all seen it. I'm pretty sure we've all seen, Steph Van Gundy going crazy on commentary saying that said players should get fined for flopping. That's flopping. There should be a fine for that, and no one ever gets flopped. The official rule says that you get a warning with the violation number 1. And the second one, $5,000 fine. The third one, $10,000. The fourth one, $15,000. And the fifth one, you get a $30,000 fine. And then for the sixth one, the player will be subject to such discipline as the league determines and reasonable under the circumstances, including an increased fine or suspension. So, these are the rules they put in 2012 or 2011 to stop flopping. And they kind of, enforced it for a little bit, and then they kind of took their foot off the pedal. They took they didn't want to be mean. They didn't want to be the teacher telling you what to do, and they were kind of like, the rule's there. Hopefully they know about it, and hopefully they don't flop. But if they do flop, then we tried, but we're not really gonna enforce it. So for this rule about drawing fouls, I think there is some. It's not just about drawing fouls. There's some safety issues there too. You don't want a point guard running into a center or power forward's leg. the kicking of the leg could injure someone. I've seen players kick people in the face when they're trying to draw fouls. So it's getting out of hand. I'm glad they're implementing this rules. The only thing I would say is I just hope they really enforce it, like especially at the beginning, like just really hammer down on it so that players get like, okay, they're serious about this one. Like this is not like the flopping rule where I can still flop and I'm not gonna get fined. Like this is for reals. Like they're really calling fouls or whatever. They're really like, giving me a warning. They're really calling it out as soon as they see it. Like, nah, that's not no foul. That's a foul on you for kicking your leg out. So we'll see. I'm hopeful that they get it right and they actually follow through with it. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think this is a good thing? Do you guys think this is a bad thing? And if they're gonna do it anyway, so you think they're actually gonna enforce it, or is this just gonna be kind of like the flopping rule where they put the rule in, they enforce it for a little bit, and then they kind of just forget about it and they don't keep enforcing the rule. But because personally, I think they're going to enforce it for a little bit and then they're going to forget about it and then we're still going to see players do that. But let me know what you guys think. Djokovic signs up for mixed doubles in the Olympics. He's going to represent Serbia in the mixed Olympics. He has a chance now for 2 gold medals. Either or, if he gets one or the other, doesn't matter. Djokovic just wants to get a medal. When asked about why he joined mixed doubles, he basically said that is because he wants to get a gold medal, and being in 2 competitions gives him a greater chance than just being in 1 competition. Although I don't think he necessarily needed to do this. I think Djokovic is going to win the gold medal in the men's single. I think everyone thinks that, or for the most part, everyone just has seen Djokovic be great this whole year, just dominate, Australian Open, the French Open, Wimbledon. It's in great form. That serve is looking spicy. He's in great, magnificent form right now. You'd be a fool to bet against Djokovic winning gold for the men's single. But I think he's just trying to cover all bases. He knows that with that heat being 80 plus, 90 plus, that humidity being 70% and higher, you never know. You could get caught on a bad day where the heat just hits you hard, where the other player is just in form, and you get knocked out. And, you could have the greatest year ever by any tennis player, like he started this season, and you could still get upset in the best of 3 where you just come out and you're not having the best stuff ever. So I think now, being in 2 competitions, Djokovic is, really covering all bases and increasing his chances of getting gold. The mixed doubles field is not that big. It was 16 teams. He won once yesterday against Brazil. Serbia defeats Brazil in 2 straight sets. And now today he has quarterfinals for men's singles and he has quarterfinals for mixed doubles. So I just hope that he's not putting too much stuff on his plate. He's not, biting too much, because before the Olympics, there was even some concerns. There was some speculation that he might not participate because he needed rest. It's been a long season, COVID year, and he wanted to, prepare for the U.S. Open, which starts in the end of August. So I just hope that he's not putting too much, because although being in 2 competitions does increase your chances of getting a medal just by a numbers game, like you're in 2 competitions now, it also could decrease the chance that you win the men's single, which I think is the most importance for him. Mixed doubles would be great, but I think he really wants to get the men's singles, and hopefully he doesn't tire out, because playing, thankfully for him, he's beating these guys in straight sets and no one has really even broken him. So it's been pretty quick games, and he's one of the most fit guys on tour. He's always focused on stability and mobility and just being in the best shape he could possibly be. So I by no means think Djokovic can't handle this. I'm just worried about the heat. I'm worried about the humidity. I'm worried about the toll that all that sun, all that heat could take on you. But I think if anyone could do it, it's Djokovic. And I'm also thinking about, wow, if he's going to be the first male to ever record a golden Grand Slam and he does it getting 2 gold medals, that just oh my God, that pushes his legacy even higher than it already is. And I think that's a real possibility. We'll see how the Serbians do against Germany in mixed doubles quarterfinal today. But I think the way he's serving, the way he's playing, he could just carry that mixed doubles into a championship, into the gold medal. And I honestly would take Djokovic against the field in the men's single. He's just that good. So what do you guys think? Was this a good, smart decision? Was this a bad decision? Is he going to tire himself out? Is this going to work against him? Does this give the other players bigger chance? One of the reasons I don't worry too much for him either is because the other competitions in the tournaments are doing doubles too. Zverev is doing it. Tsitsipas was doing it. Tsitsipas lost yesterday, but he's in mixed doubles. So a lot of these players are doing more than just one competition. That's why I don't think Djokovic doing it is such a bad idea. And if anything, it's a good idea. I think he has a real chance of getting 2 gold medals, and I will be rooting for that. I would be rooting for Djokovic getting 2 gold medals and just having an amazing Olympics, having adding another thing to this amazing year that he's having. And then imagine the swagger, the confidence that he's going to walk into for the U.S. Open if he's coming with 2 gold medals hanging from his neck. But what do you guys think? Is this a good move for Djokovic? Should he have just focused on the men's single? We all know how much it's meant to him through the years. Crying when he lost to Del Potro in Rio. Crying when he lost in 2008 or 2012 in Great Britain. So we'll see. We'll see how he does. I think it's a good idea. I think he could potentially walk out with 2 gold medals. And in other news, Osaka is out of the Olympics, the hometown hero, the flag bearer for Japan. There was a lot of pressure on her going into the Olympics. She had not played in over 50 plus days after pulling out of the French Open, after citing mental illness, after saying, all the stuff that she said, saying that she felt a lot of pressure or she felt uncomfortable doing press conferences, and the French Open not, giving her different options for her to feel better. Too little, too late. We all know what happened. We all applauded for her that. A lot of strength for her to walk away, to play on her own terms. So naturally, once that happened, we were all like, damn, is she going to play Wimbledon? Is she going to play in the Olympics? Is she going to play in the U.S. Open? Like, how long, are we, going to be waiting here? How long is this going to take for her to feel better? And, with mental health, it's tricky because it could come, it could go. You never know when it's going to hit you. You never know when you're going to feel shitty, when you're going to feel defeated, when you're going to feel down, when you're not going to feel like yourself. You never really know with mental health. It's very, very tricky. So to no one's surprise, she pulled out of Wimbledon. She said, I'm not going to compete in Wimbledon. And to everyone's, excitement, she confirmed that she was going to play in the Olympics and represent Tokyo. And as soon as that came out, I wondered if she did that because, she was feeling better, like the timetable kind of made sense for her to come back at that time, or if she was doing that because she felt the pressure of representing Japan in the Olympics when it was being held in Tokyo. So there's a lot of pressure for her to show up for her country. And she did. She had a good opening first 2 rounds. She had some hiccups, like a little bit at the beginning, but overall she looked really, really good. But in the press conferences afterwards, after the first one, she said she was nervous. She was overly nervous. She didn't know why. And, commentators, pundits were all talking about, no, it's natural. She hasn't played in over 50 days. She's rusty. She had the whole, French Open fiasco, the whole thing, whatever you want to call it. So it's natural. She's probably jitters, the Olympics, the bright lights in her home country. Thankfully for her, she got out of the first round. They were saying that was probably the most difficult game because that had the highest chance of getting upset. Then she goes to round 2 and she, looks good again, but she does have some moments where you're like, okay, is this the Naomi that we are accustomed to? And afterwards, she has a similar press conference where she states like, damn, I'm feeling nervous. I'm still feeling a little, like wacky out there. I'm not feeling so comfortable. I do feel you know, a little of nervous. And that's when the commentators were like, okay, like she said that kind of 2 times now. Like she's definitely working herself into this tournament. She's definitely trying to gather herself. But we all kind of assumed that it was natural. 50 plus days without playing, hometown country, all the pressure of a country. And then I think it all came down to game 3. All that pressure, all that nervousness that she was feeling throughout, it just all exploded that day. Because although she had some minor hiccups or some moments in the first 2 rounds where you were like, okay, like what's going on here? Is this Naomi? Or like why is she doing this unforced error? Why did she not hit the best forehand? Why is her serve not the best? There were just little moments. They were not like for a prolonged period. And in round 3, I think it all just came crashing down. She had 32 unforced errors. She only had 1 ace the whole game. Nothing. I don't want to take anything away from her opponent. Congratulations to her. She deserved to go through. Good job for her. Hopefully she does well. But when the commentators, I keep saying commentators, but when the commentators were talking about, hey, did Osaka lose this game or did Vondrousova win this game? And they were all pretty adamant and pretty confident, saying that there's no way that Vondrousova won this game. Osaka lost this game with all her mistakes, with her terrible serving. And I agree. Like, if you would have watched that game, Osaka definitely had a terrible game. And it was not because Vondrousova was putting so much pressure or unstabling her or just, hitting amazing forehands, hitting amazing serves where it just rattles your opponent and you're like, wow, like I cannot beat this player. Like, she's just on one of those days where I just can't beat this player. I think it was more that, it had been fuming. Osaka had been thinking about it. She had been feeling the pressure. She might have not been competing with the best mental state. She might have just came into the Olympics because it was in her native country. So I think we kind of could have seen this coming, but it was a very sad moment. I wanted Naomi to do great. I'm cheering for that girl. I'm cheering for that woman. She's a great spokesperson for the game of tennis. She's a great spokesperson for, mental health. Hopefully we're moving into, a time where mental health is taken seriously or more seriously. It's taken just as important as a physical injury where we don't, criticize or bring shame to players that can't compete or decide not to because they're just not in the right mental space. And Naomi Osaka brought light to that, and for that I applaud her. And I'm pretty sure if I was to say a guess, she still wasn't like the best when she came for the Olympics. She was just, trying to gut it through for her country. And it caught up to her. The pressure was also like insane. Like the way she was being marketed as like the face of Japan. And, she was a flag bearer for her country in the ceremony. And everyone knows her name. And the spotlight was already going to be shining bright on her because she's like a international star and she's the face of female tennis at this point. It was even brighter on her because it was like her return. It was the return of Naomi Osaka. It was her coming back to the sport. There's so many storylines going into it. Like Naomi Osaka, the biggest Japan star, playing in her home country. Naomi Osaka coming back to tennis. The world number 2 player returning. Like, how is she gonna play? There was the lights were definitely on her like they've never been, and that's just a lot to put on someone. And for her sake, I hope maybe she felt some relief exiting the Olympics. Now she's off everyone's attention. She could regroup herself. We'll see if she competes in the US Open. I don't know. I haven't checked on it. I would not be surprised if she pulls out of that and she just focuses on herself. But I wish Naomi Osaka the best. Whenever you want to come back or whenever you're right, I know you'll come back and you'll be stronger than ever. And I think she represented her country well. She's a great person, and I wish her the best. But sticking on that subject, Simone Biles pulls out of the team gymnastic. There's a lot of people criticizing her. There's a lot of people calling her a quitter. And I think they're wrong. Michael Phelps has even come out and talking about how he's felt the pressure of being an Olympian, the pressure of breaking records, the pressure of greatness. And Simone Biles, she competes in a crazy, crazy sport. We can only imagine or dream of doing some of the stuff that she has. She has over like 4 moves named after her because she is so great. She's the only one that could do those moves. She's an amazing athlete. That goes, I don't even have to say that. Everyone knows that. So for her to withdraw from the Olympics, withdraw from events, is just, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of wherewithal. It takes a lot of self-realization to say, you know what? I don't got it today. I'm not in the right mental space. I could potentially hurt myself or hurt my team if I go out there. And why would I do that when, I could just take a deep breath, gather myself and say, you know what? I am not in the right space to compete right now. I don't want to hurt myself. I want to take a step back and let you guys compete. You guys, and also there's a lot of tension that goes with someone that's not feeling well. You're always worried for them. You're always kind of concerned. So I think she also showed, there are people that are saying that she lacked respect. She didn't care about her team. I think that's the opposite. She cared so much for her teammates. When she exited the vault, she straight up went to her teammate and told them, you guys enjoy it. You guys are going to be just fine. This is your guys' first time at the Olympics, so make sure you guys enjoy it. Do a great job. And that shows leadership. That shows the type of person that she is, and I applaud her for that. I wish her the best. I wish her, that she gets back to that bright energy that she has. Even if you just watched the Olympics and you saw her getting ready to compete, she looked uncomfortable. She looked nervous. She looked like she was kind of doing this. She was kind of doing all these movements. She kind of had her head felt kind of tight. It just didn't look like she was enjoying herself. And I've seen past competitions of Simone Biles where she has a smile that could light up the whole arena. Her energy is unmatched. You could just kind of feel like an aura coming out of her. You're like, damn, this girl just has the most energy out of anyone. She knows that she's a star. The way she walks is just with a lot of confidence. She just exuberates confidence and energy and passion, and it's just an amazing thing to see. That's part of the Simone Biles spectacle. Just the way she carries herself, the bigger than life persona. So when you see her getting ready for competitions, you see her not landing her moves. She kind of stumbles a little bit. She doesn't have the same energy. Her face is not, the typical Simone Biles smile with great energy. You start to sense that there was something wrong. You start to sense that, okay, like what's going on here? Why is she not the usual Simone Biles? And sure enough, we found out that she's struggling. She's going through something. She doesn't feel right, and she needs to take some time. She needs to take some space. And after all she's gone through, we've with the U.S. Olympics, scandal with the coach that got sentenced for, abusing players and abusing young women. She was in that. She led the way. She voiced. She said, I was part of that too. I was one of the girls. I was one of the women that, got affected by this, that personally got affected by this. And she said she wasn't just competing for herself. She was competing for others. She was competing to, keep the conversation going so that wouldn't just be put in the back burner and forgotten about. She was competing for more than herself. So with all of that, for her to still just be able to say, you know what, I can't do this. I'm going to take a step back. She also said she got the twisties. So that's very dangerous. I think that's when the twisties, I think they said that's when you just kind of lose yourself, when you're the mind-body disconnect. That's what the twisties are. Can be dangerous even for someone as Simone Biles. Yeah. So they're basically saying you have to be there 100% or 120%, because if you're not, the slightest bit, you can get hurt. So yeah, I saw that when she was doing the vault. One of the people that's commentating for NBC past gymnastics said that Simone Biles kind of got lost in the air, which kind of means I think her body wasn't in the right movement. She kind of it wasn't all like one fluid movement. That's what I kind of understood from that. And gymnastics, that's one dangerous sport. Like, we all know football is a dangerous sport, rugby is a dangerous sport, boxing, taekwondo, you're getting hit. But gymnastics, if you guys see the way that body's turning, the way that your neck is moving, the possibility of landing on the ground with that much force, with that much inertia, and just not landing correctly, like, you could get paralyzed easily if you're not concentrated. If you're thinking about something else, and it did look like Simone Biles was not 100% there. Like I said, if you've seen her before, I'm not even talking about like if you're an avid gymnastics follower. Like, if you've just seen her on Twitter, because everyone's seeing Simone Biles. She's a worldwide renowned star. She's the greatest gymnastic of all time. So I'm sure all of you, or most of you, have seen her, whether Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You actually follow gymnastics like that, Olympics, World Championships. You have definitely seen her. You know how she carries herself. You know the smile that she carries. You know the energy that just exuberates off her. You could tell that there's something off with her. So I applaud her, and I wish Simone Biles to get better. I wish her the best. She's 24 years old, so this might be the last Olympics. Selfishly, for fans of her, for others, we wanted to see her break records. We wanted her to get gold medals. We wanted her star to be even bigger. That was, the selfish part of us. We all wanted that. But the human part of us, the fellow American part of us, the fan of her, we're all just happy that she, is taking this step away, that she's focusing on her mental health, and we all wish her the best. And I wish Simone Biles the best. I wish she gets better. I applaud her for, shedding more light on mental health. These women, man, this year they've taken that step. They've taken that light and just shined it on mental health, and I can't applaud them for that. I think in the future we're gonna look back at 2021 and just say, like, damn, that was a turning point. That's when we started really acknowledging mental health in sports and not just diminishing it or shoving it to the side and making it insignificant. 2021 was the year, and we could thank Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka for really putting the light in the Olympics and in a Grand Slam tournament like the French Open, with so much stuff on the line. Like, Naomi, she could have, got another Grand Slam, just cemented that start of her tennis career, just really just, taking the reins, be the star of tennis, win another Grand Slam in clay. Simone Biles, she could have broken so many records, tied so many records, just completely just be the greatest ever. If she's not already the greatest ever, but she could have just, like, there would have been no argument for anybody else. She could have tied a bunch of other records, not just in gymnastics, but overall. She could have just dominated everything. And she was like, nope, I'm going to worry about myself first. None of these records. I'm gonna compete on my own time, on my own health. And I think we could all applaud for that. That takes a lot of courage. So shout out to Simone Biles. Shout out to Naomi Osaka. But yeah, that should complete this episode of the Hard to Handle Sports Podcast. The Olympics are winding down. I'm going to follow the tennis for sure. We'll see how soccer goes. Basketball, men's basketball got a win against Iran the other day. They're back on track. We'll see how they do with their next opponent. And Premier League soccer is almost back. NFL is almost back. NBA season draft is coming along. NBA free agency is coming along. Sports never end, man. So I'm going to be here to cover all of that. So if you like any of this content, please stick around. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to the channel, the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all of that good stuff. Thank you for listening. My name is Ismael San Juan. Hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm out.